Corner, and today we're going to talk about the autism registry and why do we need to stand up and say no to the autism registry. So if you're not dialed into the news cycle and everything else that is happening currently, the Department of Health and Human Services director is trying to establish a registry for autistic individuals or people with autism in order to track and study. So one of the reasons we need to aggressively fight against this is, number one, this is eugenics. Let's just be realistic here. Anybody that heard his comments, and I honestly do not understand what this man has against autism or what person with autism he has interacted with, that he just seems to have a boner for autism. But we're talking about eugenics dressed as something else. Is placing value on people only arbitrarily and only based on what they consider desirable skills and traits. And that's what happened during World War II, especially with Germany. So anybody that knows a little bit about history knows that when we start putting people in lists and registries and we start keeping records, it's usually not for anything positive. It's usually for nefarious reasons. But even if it wasn't, let's be charitable and think about it from a different perspective. Even though autism doesn't need a registry in order to be researched, we've been researching autism for decades and decades. And let me just get it out of the way. The whole vaccine connection has been thoroughly debunked in the last 20 to 25 years. We know that was just one study that was not peer reviewed. It was manipulated to get for confirmation bias. The sample size was not the one that you're supposed to use. So let's just get that out of the way. Vaccines will not give you autism. Autism is not an illness. It's not something that you contract. It is strictly linked to the development of the brain and its executive functions and how that expresses itself as the person develops and grows. Hi everybody that's joining the stream. Thank you so much. Please make sure that you're all liking, share, and subscribing. So we are trying to build community for people that are neurodivergent or for people that are professionals or caregivers of individuals that are neurodivergent. So let me digress and go back to the topic. So the autism registry is not only not going to bring anything in terms of research, discovery, or anything like that, because that's already happening. Plus, with all of the people that they have fired from the FDA, from the NIH, and the CDC, and all of the other agencies that would do research, I honestly do not know. But the other nefarious thing about having an autism registry is that it can give false hope to families that are desperate and think that this has a cure and I can somehow magically fix my child or finally fix my child. People with autism do not need a cure. They do not need to be fixed. They do not need anything else from others other than support and tolerance. Like anybody else, they have a level of functioning across the different executive functions that we have, Some people struggle with socialization. Some people struggle with speech. Some people struggle with motor skills. Everybody's different, and everybody's level of care is different. Sticking them in a registry just makes more of a stigma, and it winds up doing more harm than benefit, because you're giving false hope to people that are desperately looking for answers, and you're doing harm to people that are autistic, because they're not going to want to go to professionals because they don't want to be in a registry like they are some sort of like phenomenon. It would actually increase the stigma, and it will drive people away from getting the early interventions and the therapies that they need and the supports that they need in order to thrive. And also, let's talk about like his comments that autism destroys families and all of that. There are plenty of extremely successful people that fall on the spectrum, including Elon Musk, who is the richest man on earth. So if we go by the rationale of Kennedy, he shouldn't be paying taxes, because people with autism will never be able to pay taxes. What about the soccer player, Messi? Falls on the spectrum. He is autistic. Should we tell him that he can't play soccer, being one of the best soccer players worldwide? You know, we need to stop with the ableist talk and call a spade for a spade when it's happening. This registry, we really need to step up as autism warriors and protest and make sure that this does not take place for autistic people or anybody else with a disability. They only need your support, or at the very least, so you do no harm. And understand that the only reason why a lot of these disorders seem more prevalent and more present nowadays is because we have gotten so much better at diagnosing earlier. And who do you think does that? The people that they fired from the FDA, from the NIH, from the CDC, those bureaucrats that they wanted to cut out because those are expenses. Those professionals are the ones that have researched and have gotten us to a point where we now understand the disorder, can establish interventions a lot earlier, and help this community to thrive and be the best version of themselves, because that's what we all want. So again, thank you so much for following the channel. If you are into mental health, in neurodivergent, and there's a specific topic you would like me to do a video, or do you want a long format, a deep dive into anything specifically, if you want to know more about me, I would love for all of you guys on the chat to engage, interact. This is about building community. I want to eventually bring people together, share resources, share tips, share techniques. If you are a person that is neurodivergent, or if you care for somebody neurodivergent, this channel is a safe space to build community, to build solidarity in these crazy times that we're living. So that's it for me today. Thank you to everybody that joined. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. It helps the mission. I am not looking to be an influencer. I'm not looking to monetize. I'm just looking to bring people together. So as I always say, stay safe, stay healthy, lift each other, be there for each other. That's the only way through. I'll be talking to you guys soon. Bye.